Grandpa stole his first buggy in 1892. I met your grandma pig slopping in 46.
Oh, every Christmas we'd visit my Uncle Fred in prison.
Hello, Genies, and welcome to America's Family History Show. It's Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. It is Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, on the program where we shake your family tree and watch the nuts fall out. This segment of the show is brought to you by FamilySearch.org, and we have another good one today. A great guest coming up in about 9 or 10 minutes. His name is Rishi Sharma, and you may have seen him on CBS Sunday Morning not too long ago. This guy's 21 years old, and as a teenager, he got real excited about World War II and started skipping classes to go interview World War II combat vets. And now he does this pretty much full time, seeking to do this several times a day, and he drives all over the country. So you're going to want to hear what motivates Rishi, some of the stories he's gathered, the reaction of some of these veterans who are now in their 90s, by the way. It's going to be a great couple of segments with Rishi Sharma coming right up. Hey, if you haven't signed up for our weekly Genie newsletter, it is absolutely free. Get on it. You can sign up at ExtremeGenes.com. And no, we don't do anything with the list. We are not Facebook around here, okay? Hey, let's check in now with Boston and David Allen Lambert, the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society and AmericanAncestors.org. How are you, David?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Vish?
I got to tell you, I'm a little tired because it's been, you know how it goes where you get onto something and you stay up till like 1 in the morning working on genealogical stuff.
Best discoveries are at 2 a.m. in the morning.
They really are. Well, recently we did some DNA on my wife's uncle and her mother, and we had a breakthrough on their name line, and we finally were able to get back to a Revolutionary soldier that was the ancestor, common ancestor to all these people with the DNA match. And now we had a second DNA match for another associated line. And the family name was really interesting. We've been looking for this family Reth, like death with an R, for decades and haven't had a lot of luck. And now we've determined, because of DNA, it's not only Reth, but the name also came up as Ralph, Reef, Rath, and Rafe, and from Cecil County, Maryland. So, you know, kind of complicated, but we have figured out the common ancestor, and it's been pretty fun. And that's what DNA can do for you, right?
I know. DNA Painter is still occupying a lot of my time. In fact, I'm very excited that one of my cousins got her aunt, who is my mother's last living first cousin, to do a mitochondrial DNA. So soon I will have the mtDNA of my great-grandmother who died in 1920.
Nice. Wow, that could be helpful. Then there's the other side of DNA, and that kind of leads to our first story today in Family Histoire News.
Yeah, a young lady named Kelly Rowlett had done some DNA and got surprising results. Apparently, her dad is not her dad. She was conceived by artificial insemination. However, the doctor was her dad.
Oh, the fertility doctor. Oh, and she had no idea, right?
Absolutely, and now they're suing for $10 million. I remember not long ago there was another story of this going on, and apparently the person fathered hundreds of children.
Yeah. It happened, and apparently has happened a lot. So, yeah, congratulations. It's a girl, Daddy Doctor. That's unbelievably bad.
It really is. But, you know, DNA is one thing, but there's another thing you can do about characteristics that we inherit is just by asking a question. So I put out on my Twitter feed, DL Genealogist, have you ever recorded the physical characteristics of your ancestors, hair color, eye color, for your immediate family? It's a good start, and it's a great way to record history that may be forgotten. I mean, in history, you know the World War I, World War II draft give you physical descriptions, and I know that you've used records in the past that catch on early.
Well, yeah, just a few weeks ago, discovered that newspaper clipping from a paper in London about a third great-grandfather who abandoned the family in 1818, and it gave a full description: eye color, hair color, shape of his face, his complexion, what he was wearing, how tall he was. You know, it was unbelievable. So, yes, you can get those from quite a ways back, and it would be a really interesting thing to do, and compare it to, say, your 23andMe DNA profile.
Exactly. Well, you know, if you have a black and white photo, obviously you don't want to take a crayon and color it in, but now in the digital age, people like the Danish artist Mads Madsen have been working to colorize the history and bring it back to life in a different way. And we talked about just a couple of weeks ago, I believe, the young lady that died at Auschwitz during World War II, where they colorized the picture and brought it back to life. But there are pictures from the Civil War, from the Great Dust Bowl that they've been using, and the one of Lincoln.
It's like he's right there.
Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing, and I think that, a lot of people back 20 or so years ago were upset with Ted Turner with colorizing movies, but I think this is great technology. I'd go to a class to learn how to colorize some of the black and white.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, sometimes your marriage pictures are in black and white, but how about if that same marriage can occur again in color? In digital, even. A Kentucky couple who was divorced 50 years ago are getting remarried next week. And so happy new anniversary for Harold Holland and Lillian Barnes, who were teenagers when they first met and fell in love. They got divorced in 1968, but they're getting married this month. They are now 83 and 79.
They got married originally in 1955, so they'll have two sets of wedding pictures that would look quite a bit different.
Yes, and so they could colorize the old one if they need to. Well, each week I like to throw out a blogger. So the blogger spotlight this week goes to Elizabeth Handler, who has an interesting blog title, From Maine to Kentucky.blogspot.com. And what she's been doing, as a lot of people have done, with my friend and colleague Amy Johnson Crow's idea of 52 ancestors in 52 weeks. So this latest blog from Elizabeth is her great aunt Margie, the maiden aunt. So it's a great way to kind of go out and talk about your ancestors through your blog. And this might give our listeners an example of maybe starting one of their own on the same idea.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, if you want to join NEHCS, you can become a member and save $20 by using the checkout code EXTREME on AmericanAncestors.org. All
right, David. Thanks so much. And we'll talk to you again next week. Good stuff.
Pleasure to talk to you, as always.
And coming up next, I'm going to talk to Rishi Sharma. He's 21 years old, and he spends all of his days interviewing World War II combat vets. Wait till you hear his story. Wait till you hear some of their stories and what he's going to do with those. It's all coming up for you next in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've worked with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476 or register online to get a free estimate. Right now, you can save up to $100 on professional genealogy research. But hurry, this offer expires at the end of the month. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research. You enjoy the discoveries.
Hi, Genies. It's Scott Fisher, host of Extreme Genes, with an invitation for you to join our brand spanking new Extreme Genes Patrons Club. Now, the Extreme Genes Patrons Club is where, for as little as $1 a month, Genies everywhere can take advantage of Extreme Genes rewards, such as early access to our latest podcasts, members-only bonus podcasts, acknowledgement on extremegenes.com, and special monthly live online question and answer sessions with well-known family history experts. Catch visits with genealogy stars such as David Allen Lambert, photo detective Maureen Taylor, DNA expert CeCe Moore, and many other experts and storytellers. If you find yourself craving more stories, more ideas for digging up your dead, more inspiration, the Extreme Genes Patrons Club is for you. The rewards start at just $1 a month. Find out more now. Just go to extremegenes.com and click on our special Extreme Genes Patrons Club link at the top right, or go to patreon.com/extremegenes. You know, it wasn't that long ago, just a few weeks back, my wife and I were hanging out one Sunday morning watching CBS Sunday Morning, which often features interesting people doing unique things involved in arts and history. And we saw the story of Rishi Sharma, a Californian who is just 20 years old and started as a teenager collecting the stories of World War II combat veterans. Hi, it's Fisher, and this is Extreme Genes, America's family history show on extremegenes.com. And this segment is brought to you by myheritage.com. And I am pleased to have Rishi on the phone with me right now. Rishi, welcome to Extreme Genes. It's great to have you.
Hi, sir. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about the heroes of the Second World War.
Well, you are an amazing guy, because I'm thinking where I was at 20 years old and some of the things that I was doing. And, well, I was always fascinated by meeting some of the World War II vets that I came across very routinely when I was young. I don't know that I dug too much into their stories other than an uncle. And you started at this at what age?
I started interviewing World War II combat veterans when I was about 16 and a half.
16. So you were in high school at the time in California. Your family is from India initially. They came in the 1970s. And so you are the first generation American in your family. At what point did you say, I've got to talk to these people. I got to get to meet them and know their stories? And what has taken place over the last 4 years since you started this?
So ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be a Marine. But when I thought of a Marine, I thought of an 18-year-old with nothing but the shirt on his back and a rifle in his hand, fighting in the jungles of Guadalcanal on the sands of Iwo Jima, fighting this really pure, good versus evil fight. And as I got older, I lost interest in the military, but I never lost interest in the World War II veterans. And so I would read as much as I could about the war, and I started reaching out to some of the veterans that I would read about. I would just look up their names on the computer, and if I didn't see an obituary, I found them online in the phone book, and it was the most amazing feeling to talk to a real-life hero, someone who really went through hell so that I could have a chance at life today. And it's so easy to talk to them. If I wanted to talk to like a useless celebrity like the Kardashians, I'd have to go through a million people. But to talk to a real-life superhero, I could just call them. And that's what really inspired me to start riding my bike to local nursing homes and meeting with the veterans face-to-face. I mean, every single retirement community has World War II veterans. And by the time I interviewed all the veterans in one home, I would go to the next, and then the local paper did a story about what I was doing, and people started calling me and reaching out to me and saying, I know a World War II veteran, my dad's a World War II vet, my grandpa's a World War II veteran, you should interview them. And so I started ditching class to go do interviews because I was learning more from someone who's been around for 90-plus years than I was in class.
Sure.
And at that point, the Associated Press did a story about my mission, and that went national, and that's how the folks at CBS picked it up. And now thousands and thousands of people have reached out to me across the country telling me about World War II veterans that they know, and a lot of people were very generous and supported me through an online fundraiser. And ever since I graduated high school, I've been driving across the United States on a mission. to meet and interview 2 to 3 World War II combat veterans every day until the last one passes away.
Wow. That's incredible. So this is your full-time job now, and you're basically funded by people who support your mission. Is that still going on?
Yes, sir. But in all honesty, I was very fortunate, and a lot of folks donated. And at this point, it wouldn't be right if I was trying to take people's money, if I wasn't necessarily going to use it while I still have a lot of funds.
Sure.
So the biggest help people can provide is telling me about World War II combat veterans that they know about, and even, getting off their butt and visiting these veterans in their local community.
Sure.
Because on my website, heroesofthesecondworldwar.org, there's a step-by-step guide I made for people telling them how they can do their own interviews and how easy it is. And I don't want my generation to be the generation that when the last World War II veteran passes away, it suddenly dawns on people, wow, I wish I spoke to my grandpa more.
Sure.
Gosh, I wish I listened to what my elderly neighbor had to say and didn't just shrug off what they were telling me, the advice that they were giving me. Oh, man, I wish I went to that retirement community and recorded the lives of people who grew up in the Great Depression and fought in World War II. It's a lot of would-have, should-have, could-have.
Yeah.
But now is the time because we have all the technology. Everyone has a camera because everyone has a smartphone. We have the transportation to get to veteran. We have the means to find out who they are and where they live. There's really no excuse why we shouldn't get all these veterans interviewed.
Amen and amen, Rishi. So let's go back again. I want to talk about the school thing. You started cutting classes. How did your teachers feel about what you were doing at the time, and how did you go about graduating?
Oh, all I can say on that note is that school was never the biggest thing for me. I mean, I'm not dumb.
No, obviously not.
I should say that basically cutting class just wasn't that big of an issue. The stuff that they give you, it's a lot of busy work, and it's really not stimulating for the mind. And the stuff that they were teaching was not something that it was necessary for me to be present in the classroom.
I see.
Learning. It's not like I ditched every day.
Sure. Yeah, it was just now and again. Did some of the teachers appreciate what you were doing?
I didn't really publicize it too much in the school. The principal was really behind me, and he helped out. He was really supportive because his grandpa was a World War II veteran.
Okay.
They were supportive in the sense that they were helping connect the dots. The school superintendent stepped in and wanted help to get some more publicity. We reached out to the local news affiliates, and they did stories about my mission. For me, it just wasn't as big of a deal as I think it would be for some people.
Tell me about your folks. Obviously, they've been watching you through this, and have they been supportive?
Not really. My father was very verbally and physically abusive growing up, in the family.
Yep.
And so it wasn't the best household growing up. My mother's a very lovely person, but, with arranged marriages, you're kind of stuck in that situation, which is what they had. And I would be lying to you if I said that they were very supportive and helped me, because it's not really true.
Right.
But I can say that it's pretty hard to be upset at your kid when they're on CBS Sunday morning.
Right. Doing good things and helping remember the people who helped keep this country free.
Yeah, I've met so many families on the journey I'm on that have said that, I wish I could have adopted you. I wish you were my son. And that's really nice to hear from people because I never felt that at home.
Sure.
And I just know that if I grew up in a different household, I would have got started a lot earlier.
So let me ask you this, Rishi. When you go to visit a combat veteran from World War II, they're typically in their 90s now, right?
No. Every single World War II combat veteran in the United States is 92 and older.
Okay. So they're 92 and older. They're not necessarily used to the technology being put in their face and all that. Let's just talk about your technique a little bit. How do you get them relaxed and how do you get them to open up? Because let's face it, a lot of people who've been through these experiences are typically pretty quiet about things.
So the interviews I conduct, it's not like 60 minutes. It's not a police interrogation. It's really just a conversation I'm having. I have 3 things in my court that really support what I'm doing. I'm the same age the veterans were when they were in combat. I do a lot of research about the war. So when you're a combat veteran, it's hard enough to talk about your experiences, but it's even harder when you're trying to explain it to a civilian. But if I already go in with an understanding of the difference between a platoon and a company, or what D-Day was versus the invasion of Tarawa in the Pacific, it really puts them at ease. But the most important thing is that I'm not related to any of the World War II veterans. So there's no emotional attachment, and they can talk to me like I'm one of the guys in a censor-free environment. And usually the way the interviews play out, I get there, I set up, we have a little bit of small talk. I find a nice quiet area with nice lighting, and I don't have a fancy setup where lights and everything, because that's like shining headlights at a deer.
Yeah, right.
I use natural light, and I make the veteran comfortable in the usual chair that they sit in, and we just start talking, and I kind of prod them through their life. That's really what the interview is. We start off talking about where they were born and how they grew up in the Great Depression, what they wanted to do with their life before the war broke out, how they heard about the attack on Pearl Harbor. And then at a certain point, I'm really just prodding them along and filling in the gaps while they're really giving the meat of the story. So I'll say, after Pearl Harbor, take me through how did you end up in the service.
Sure.
And then they'll take me through how they enlisted or they drafted. Then we go through the training. But the interviews tend to be multiple hours, and the majority of that time is focused on combat. If you're willing to listen and you show that you care and you find it important that people understand what they went through during the war, a lot of them are more than willing to talk about it. It's a tough thing to talk about, killing people and seeing your best friends getting killed, but it happened, and they know that more than anyone, that if we don't want it to happen again, they're going to have to speak up, and people are going to have to listen.
All right, Rishi, great point. And you know what? Those are all the things professionals do in interviews, too, is to try to make people feel comfortable. All right, we're going to continue with Rishi Sharma. He's a 20-year-old from California going around the country interviewing World War II combat vets. We'll get more from him coming up next in 5 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Scientific studies have proven that youth who know even a little bit about their family history perform better academically and have a greater sense of personal confidence and stability. Genealogy is its own incredible superpower that arms our children with super strength. But how do you get your child or grandchild interested in studying their family history? That kind of stuff is just for grandmas, right? Not anymore. ZapTheGrandmaGap.com leaps the generation gap in a single bound. Author Janet Havorka provides you with useful and timely advice on helping the young people in your life become engaged in their own family history. Janet has an entire collection of books to inspire the young and the young at heart in fun, interactive ways. She also offers creative tips and advice on her blog and in her free weekly newsletter. Stop by ZapTheGrandmaGap.com today to sign up for Janet's free email newsletter with 52 weeks of easy tips, free downloads, and order your set of resource books and workbooks. Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chartmasters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartmasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chartmasters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style of genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chartmasters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chartmasters today at FamilyChartmasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chartmasters will give the greatest care to your family history.
We are back. It's America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and ExtremeGenes.com. Fisher here, your radio root sleuth, and this segment is brought to you by FamilySearch.org. And I'm talking to Rishi Sharma. He's a 20-year-old Californian who spends every day out visiting and interviewing World War II combat veterans. He's in Denver, Colorado as we speak today. And Rishi, let's just get an idea. Who have you been talking to today? What stories are you hearing?
Oh, well, today was a great interview. I interviewed a World War II hero who is 103 years old. He was born in 1915, and he was some of the first guys drafted in the state of Nebraska, and he saw a lot of combat. He fought all the way from North Africa to Sicily, up the boot of Italy, and he was a platoon sergeant, which means he's in charge of about 42 men's lives. And he was in a famous division called the 3rd Infantry Division where Audie Murphy served. And Audie Murphy's the most decorated soldier from World War II.
Right.
And this man, he was wounded twice. He had multiple bullet wounds, and he's still alive, and he's so active. At 103, he drove to South Dakota from Denver just a couple days ago. It's amazing. They're amazing.
How do these people receive you?
You know, for a lot of the veterans, this is the first time they're talking about it in 75 years. So at first, they're kind of timid, but once they kind of get to know me and know that I'm not there to judge them and I'm just there to learn, they are the most welcoming, humble, amazing, and heroic people anyone will ever come across in their lives. They're so generous. You'll never meet another generation where every single day of their life has been about other people, you know, from quitting school in the Great Depression to put food on the table to lying about their age to get into service. It's always been about how to help other people. And I just think that every single day I get to spend and look one of these heroes in their eyes, it's such a blessing.
So tell me, Rishi, do any of these people, you say it's the first time they've spoken about their experience in some cases, do any of them get emotional in the course of sharing their story?
So a lot of the veterans, you know, as you mentioned, I focus on World War II combat veterans. And I tend to focus a lot of the infantry soldiers, you know, which were the dog-faced soldiers who actually saw the enemy and lived in the foxholes. And for a lot of them, they've told me things that they've never told anyone else. And it's an opportunity to get some things off their chest before they pass away. You know, killing people, I thought that was a really big thing, and it is a big thing. But it seems that what affects the veterans more is seeing their friends killed. A lot of them talk about guys who they trained with for years and guys who they've become really close to, only to get into combat and see them get blown apart or shot right in front of them. That's what really tears them apart. When people are shooting at you, it's a lot easier to shoot back. But when you know someone and you know their family and you know the kind of person they are, and to see them getting killed, that's what really tears them apart. And a lot of them, they feel that they can finally share that.
Do they cry when they talk about these things sometimes?
Oh, yeah. Even the toughest World War II veterans sometimes tear up. And I've had a few veterans break down when talking about losing their friends or having to kill people.
Yeah.
You know,
so what were some of the most amazing things that you have been shown, you know, items that were memorabilia from their experiences?
Well, in all honesty, I just go there really for the interview. I take pictures of the veterans with some of their belongings. A lot of them picked up souvenirs off of the dead soldiers, whether it be dead Germans or dead Japanese. They would have pictures. One very sad story. Can I share that story?
Sure, please.
I interviewed this paratrooper up in Erie, Pennsylvania. Very nice man, and he talked to me about his experiences. He jumped in during the Normandy invasion, and he also made a later jump in Holland called Market Garden.
Yep.
And he was 18 years old when he was in combat. He was a paratrooper, so he volunteered. He put himself in that position, but he talked to me about a patrol that he went on. Him and his squad, about 12 guys, were walking along, and a group of Germans ambushed them, came out of the woods to their right, and he just instinctively, he saw a German, he fired, and he hit the German in the chest, and he killed him. And that was the first time he had to kill someone, and he is such a friendly person. He wouldn't hurt a fly, you know, this man. But the fact that he had to do that, it really tore him up. But the story goes on, and some of his buddies went through that dead German's pockets. And, they were just looking for cigarettes and things like that. And they came across some pictures, and they just threw the pictures. And one of the pictures landed at his feet. And it was a picture of this German soldier, the one who he had just killed. And he told me the German soldier was about his age, about 17 or 18, a young kid.
Yeah.
And in the picture, it was a picture of the German soldier with his mother and his little sister. And at that point, the veteran looks up to me and says, I know I didn't just kill an enemy, I killed a person. It was someone's kid. A lot of veterans have souvenirs that they picked up, like samurai swords off the dead Japanese or rifles. The Luger pistol was a really highly sought-after item when you're fighting the Germans. But really the thing that I'm there for are the veterans' memories. And, another veteran who's really been impactful, him and his twin brother served together. They were in a rifle company, and usually brothers were not allowed to stay in the service.
That's right.
And they were separated during training, but they were so upset because they were so close that they begged their mother to write a letter to the commanding officer at the base and asked if they could be put in the same unit and that she gave her permission. And they did that, and they go overseas and they fight together. And they were a dynamic duo is what I like to think of them as, because the two of them received the Silver Star, which is the nation's third highest award for valor. They knocked out 4 German tanks, 3 machine gun nests, and 4 German mortar positions, all by themselves in a matter of about half hour during the Battle of the Bulge. And it was truly amazing. And they were both 18 when they were doing this. And the story goes on. The veteran who I interviewed, his name is James Krebs, and he talked to me about his brother, Jake. And they were running in the field, and they came under machine gun fire. And his twin brother, identical twins, his twin brother was shot right in front of him. And he talked to me about what it was like to hold your best friend and your twin brother in your arms as he's dying. And he was telling me about the kind of things that his brother was telling him. And they were and are very religious. And the veteran who I interviewed was able to give his last rites to his brother. But right as he finished, a German sniper shot and killed his brother instantly. And to think that, this man had to go through all that. He talked to me about how he had lost his faith for a while after that experience and how upset he was at the world. But he eventually regained his faith, and it was just such an inspirational story of how you can truly persevere through anything. And if you think you're having a bad day because you're stuck in traffic or your phone died,
you're right.
You really don't know what you're talking about. And we're so fortunate to have the problems that we have in this country versus problems that they have elsewhere, that we really need to wake up.
Well, you are absolutely amazing. And if you know somebody who's a World War II hero that you'd like Rishi to interview, you can reach him at area code 202-813-0992. That's 202-813-0992. Rishi, thank you for your time. Go get another interview.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
Tom Perry is next to talk preservation on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Legacy Tree Genealogist is a proud sponsor of Extreme Genes. Based in Salt Lake City, Utah, near the world's largest family history library, we've been working with genealogists all over the globe since 2004 to track down records, find your ancestors, and the stories that bring your legacy to life. We also analyze DNA test results, help you join lineage societies, and find missing cousins or heirs to property. Legacy Tree is the recommended research partner of MyHeritage.com and is the world's highest client client-rated genealogy firm. Call us toll-free at 1-800-818-1476. Call now or register online to get a free estimate. Learn from our free genealogy tips on our blog at legacytree.com/blog. Even experienced researchers can benefit from our proven and experienced staff of specialists who can bring new approaches to old problems. Legacy Tree Genealogists. We do the research, you enjoy the discoveries. LegacyTree.com.
Did you know that Family Search Family Tree is available through a powerful new mobile app experience? That's right. Now you can view, edit, and even add information to ancestors in your family tree whenever and wherever you are. You no longer need to wait to get home or make a date with your computer to view or update your family tree. You can add details to your tree when visiting with family or when capturing details from a trip to the cemetery. You can share new family history discoveries from classroom settings. You can even make the most of your time when waiting for doctor appointments or car repairs. Get started today by downloading the free Family Search Family Tree app to your Apple or Android device. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to get the Family Tree app for free. Exploring and expanding your family tree has never been more convenient. Visit familysearch.org/tree app to download the Family Search Family Tree mobile app today.
Hi, Genies. It's Scott Fisher, host of Extreme Genes, with an invitation for you to join our brand spanking new Extreme Genes Patrons Club. Now, the Extreme Genes Patrons Club is where, for as little as $1 a month, Genies everywhere can take advantage of Extreme Genes rewards, such as early access to our latest podcasts, members-only bonus podcasts, acknowledgement on extremegenes.com, and special monthly live online question and answer sessions with well-known family history experts. Catch visits with genealogy stars such as David Allen Lambert, photo detective Maureen Taylor, DNA expert CeCe Moore, and many other experts and storytellers. If you find yourself craving more stories, more ideas for digging up your dead, more inspiration, the Extreme Genes Patrons Club is for you. The rewards start at just $1 a month. Find out more now. Just go to extremegenes.com and click on our special Extreme Genes Patrons Club link at the top right, or go to patreon.com/extremegenes. Hey, welcome back. It's America's Family History Show, Extreme Genes and extremegenes.com. It is Fisher here. Tom Perry's in the house from tmcplace.com. He is our preservation authority, always answering your questions about preservation. And Tom, I don't know why we're going to talk about the National Association of Broadcasters, but there's been some stuff coming out of there that affects apparently our world when it comes to preservation.
Oh, it really does. I cut my teeth in this kind of thing in the old broadcasting business. And I still love it. I love going to NAB, seeing all the new whistles and bells. But the neat thing about it, and a good way to relate it to our listeners, is if you have like an Acura car. The cars are really cool. There's all kind of neat stuff on them. They didn't invent it for Acura. It came out of Formula One. Mm-hmm. And you're probably totally uninterested in Formula One. You might not even know what Formula One is. You've probably never seen a race. But that's where they try and test things. And once they get all the bugs out of it, and they're $30,000 for this piece of equipment, by the time they get all this done, and it ends up in your Acura, it's like a $500 option.
Right.
Like the cars that drive automatically, the ones that keep you from drifting into the wrong lane, the ones that stop because you forgot to hit your brakes when the deer jumped out in front of you, or you're getting too close to the car in front of you.
We see the ads.
Yeah, all this technology came from Formula One, but now they've got it perfected. They can put it in our cars because they've already expensed it out, so to speak, in Formula One. So we go to NAB, and they've got some of the coolest things. In fact, Dwayne Brown, who is the director of creative technologies at Rogers Media, came up with something that is absolutely the smartest thing I think I've ever heard. He said it's not about the tech, it's about the people using the tech. Right. Which is so true. The technology is out there, and whether I'm using it, a place down the street is using it, someplace in Dothan, Alabama is using it, or whoever's using it, that same technology is going to be used in different ways. That's why on the show we always tell you when you're getting your videotapes transferred and your audio tapes, do them in real time, not through a computer, right, but in a machine that's made specifically to go real time from your tape to a disc or a MP4, whatever kind of format you want, because it's made for that. Anytime you go and speed it up, it's going to harm it. So it's the same thing. All these different people have the same technology. Why is it so much better to go to us or one of the people that we recommend? Because we know how to take this technology and use it the best. In fact, I've kind of adapted his thing a little bit and said it's not about the technology, it's about the technician using the technology.
Yep. So whether that's you or whether that's a professional. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of this stuff comes from these professionals that are used to making literally hundreds of dollars an hour for the cheap guys and $1,000 an hour for the big guys. But then it drops down, like the Da Vinci program we tell people about that you can download for free. When that first came out, it was used only in motion picture production studios, and it was like $3,000 for what they call a one-seat license. But now that stuff's come down to us, and it's made it more possible for us to use it. And one of the neatest things that I've seen that's on the horizon is there's artificial technology, and you think, oh, yeah, it's Steven Spielberg's AI movie and all this kind of stuff. But they wrote that when this stuff was first happening. You're going to have scanners we talked about last week that you're going to be able to have artificial technology. It's not just algorithms. It's actually looking at your photo, looking at your negatives. It knows what it's supposed to look like, and it takes your scans and takes a lot of the photoshopping afterwards out of your hands. You don't even have to do it anymore.
Wow.
And with the Photoshop, you can go and write algorithms and say, okay, on all these photos that are like this, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. With this artificial technology, it's going to automatically figure that out itself and go make these things look crazy. And if somebody would have told me this about 5 years ago, I would have said, okay, yeah, right. You know, I got some beachfront property in Utah I'd love to sell to you. But it's really, really true. This artificial technology is getting so fast and so cheap now as costs of microchips and things are coming down and the things that they can put on the chips. Like my son asked me specifically about this the other day, and I told him it's not that we didn't know how to do it 10 years ago. We didn't have the technology to make a chip small enough that we could put all that stuff on that chip to make it work.
It's unbelievable where we're going. All right, I want to hear more about this in the NAB and what it means to us coming up next in 3 minutes on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show.
Looking for an easy way to show off your family history and share it with your family? Family Chart Masters offers beautiful custom pedigree art pieces and inexpensive family reunion draft charts in any design or size that fits your needs. With a free consultation at FamilyChartMasters.com, you can get started creating a new family masterpiece. Family Chart Masters has over 11 years of experience in creating and printing family charts. They can print any style genealogy chart from any genealogy file and can create exactly what you're looking for. You'll work with a specialized and talented consultant whose goal is to make you happy. Decorative charts make fantastic gifts for all occasions. And with Family Chart Masters' option of ordering duplicate charts at half price along with your original purchase at full price, you can afford to give a family heirloom to each member of your family. Contact Family Chart Masters today at FamilyChartMasters.com for your free consultation. Family Chart Masters will give the greatest care to your family history.
When was the last time you heard your grandmother's voice or saw your family enjoying life back in the 1950s or 60s? If the reason is you haven't known what to do with your old recordings, videos, and films, here's your answer. The Multimedia Center in Salt Lake City.
We brought in a video project to the Multimedia Center, and overnight they duplicated it to DVD so we could meet our deadline.
The Multimedia Center, 2870 East, 3300 South, Salt Lake City. Open Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Call 801-483-1717 or go to transferduplication.com.
Genies, it's Fisher with exciting news. The Weekly Genie, the official newsletter of Extreme Genes, is here. It's your Monday morning briefing on what's happening in the world of genealogy and family history and on Extreme Genes. Get all the details of jaw-dropping stories of discovery and keep up with the latest techniques in family history research. Get to know more about your favorite Extreme Genes personalities, and it's free. Sign up for the Weekly Genie now at extremegenes.com or the Extreme Genes Facebook page. And when you do, you'll receive David Allen Lambert's top 10 tips for beginning genealogists from the chief genealogist of the New England Historic Genealogical Society. Sign up today for the Weekly Genie. All right. right, back at it. Talking preservation with Tom Perry from tmcplace.com, our preservation authority. It is Fisher here on Extreme Genes, America's Family History Show. And Tom's kind of giving us a little vision of the future from the National Association of Broadcasters Convention, the NAB. And you're basically telling us that all this new software is coming down the pike that is just going to change everything about how we preserve. And I love the sound of it. You know, not long ago, I was moderating the DNA panel at Roots Tech with some of the top DNA specialists in the world. And they were all saying it could be that in 5 years, we spit in a cup, we send it in, and we get our lines.
Exactly.
I mean, it was just, and they weren't kidding. And it's like, I personally really struggle with that idea because you would really need to know who everybody was. You'd have to understand who was what from non-paternal events. I struggle if that's true. But nonetheless, they're the experts, and I'll take their word for it now with a big grain of salt. But what you're saying to me sounds very reasonable.
Oh, it is. And just like you're talking about, it's artificial intelligence again. So you're going to have this DNA sample that comes back, and this artificial intelligence, which is not just an algorithm, like I said, this is truly things that think, that are going to take this information, and they're going to look at all these different lines. They're going to see where they come together. And it's almost like magic. You open your little box there, and all the beautiful roses pop out and give you your line.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, it's crazy. It's amazing. And like this technology, just with the scanners, one of the hottest movies out right now is called Black Panther.
Right.
They had a demonstration there called Telling a Superhero Story Like No Other. And so what they've done is they've gone on like their visual effects supervisor and the re-recording people that work at like Skywalker Sound. They have come out and showed how they're taking this kind of technology and this artificial technology and being able to adapt it to other things. And so you think, well, what's this movie got to do with my home stuff? Well, your home movies, your 8mm, your Super 8, your videos, all these kind of things. With this artificial technology, you'll be able to run it through one of these machines that's going to be able to take all this kind of stuff and automatically fix it. And it's also going to be able to go and categorize it, which is what our friend Marlo Schwartz, the mad engineer and scientist, is working on.
The mad scientist.
Oh, yeah. Some of the software that he's working on right now is kind of based on this, where you're going to be able to take all your pictures, not say, okay, tie all these keywords, put a keyword here, a keyword here, a keyword here, so when they search for David, they can find all these different things. This artificial technology Marlo's working on is going to do it for you automatically. So when you're scanning the photos, it's automatically putting the taglines on them. It's automatically putting GPS coordinates on it. It's doing all this kind of stuff.
Wow.
And my head wants to explode because it's artificial technology and it's hard to wrap your head around.
All right, though, but you're frightening me a little because I know somebody's going to be listening and thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything to preserve my pictures for another 5 to 10 years. And it's like, no, you don't want to do that because obviously you're going to have more deterioration every day your pictures or your film sits out or your audio or whatever. It's going to deteriorate.
Oh, absolutely. You have to digitize today because there is no tomorrow. Because when you're running through the scanners, we just mentioned, does this stuff. It does the same thing. If you've already got JPEGs or TIFFs or whatever, it does the same thing. You get the software, and it'll be a lot faster now that it's scanned because it can go and read these JPEGs and TIFFs faster than you can even blink your eye, and it'll go and tell you all this kind of stuff. It'll tie all this stuff together. You'll push a button, and all of a sudden this whole tree pops up on your screen with all these faces of all these pictures that you took. That's all your line. It's all tied in your DNA, and your head will explode.
I think yours just did, Tom. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
My pleasure.
All right, that's our show for this week. Wow, that's a note to leave you on. Be sure to sign up for our weekly Genie newsletter, absolutely free. We give you a blog each week, a couple of links to some great shows, new and old, plus links to stories that you as a genealogist will fully appreciate. Thanks once again to Rishi Sharma for coming on the show, the 21-year-old who is spending every day interviewing World War II combat veterans around the country. If you missed that part of the show or you want to hear it again, of course, catch the podcast at extremegenes.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn Radio. Once again, thanks for joining us. Talk to you again next week. And remember, as far as everyone knows, we're a nice, normal family.